Have you ever met someone and instantly felt drawn in before they could even say a word? Maybe it's the way they carry themselves, maybe it's their energy when they walk into a room, or maybe it's how they seem to glow in their own vibe. That magnetic first impression, it's not luck. It's actually your rising sign at work. It's the mask you wear and the energy that people feel before they really know you. So, in today's video, we're talking all about your rising sign and what it says about not just attraction, but first impressions. And remember, first impressions are everything. So, if you want to know more, stick around. You definitely don't want to miss this. Hello, my loves. As always, I hope that this video finds you well and in excellent spirits. If you're new around here, hi, hello, and welcome. My name is Mel. I'm a professional astrologer and sound therapist, and I'm the founder of Divine Feminine Works, where I help people unlock their divinity and discover their magic. So if you are new, welcome. And as always, if you are returning, welcome back. So today's video is all about your rising sign. And I've talked about rising sign before. I've talked about it in terms of money and astrology, like we did in last month's series. I've talked about it on its own, where I have a dedicated video for each and every rising sign. But in this context, we're talking about the rising sign in the context of relationships. Now, the rising sign is how you show up in the world, right? And so when we're talking about relationships, it's sort of how you show up. It's the first glance, it's the first meeting, but most importantly, it's the first impression. And the characteristics of your rising sign can really help you understand how you show up in the world. I like to think of the rising sign as very objective. It's not so much what we think about ourselves, it's what people think about us. And if we know how we're showing up, sort of from the point of view of everyone else, it's kind of half the battle, right? You may think you're showing up confidently and all, macho or direct. Meanwhile, everyone's like, they're showing up like a lamb. They're showing up really demure, right? It can kind of dispel that myth in a way, and it can help you get really clear on how you show up in relationships. All right, so without further ado, let's jump right in. So, of course, to begin, I'd like you to think about and meditate on this core idea. Your rising sign shows you how you move through the world, the first impression you make, your physical energy, and how others perceive your essence. In astrology, your rising sign, also called the Ascendant, is the zodiac sign that was rising on the eastern horizon at the time of your birth. It sets the tone for your entire chart and acts as your cosmic filter. It's the way you express everything else. So, of course, it's how you show up. It's literally the sign that was on the horizon the moment that you were born. It represents your incarnation, your arrival. So, everything about the sign of your rising sign and the characteristics of that sign literally shows how you arrive. All right. So, let's begin at the top with level one. And this is rising sign by element. All right. This is the energy you radiate. You can think of it as like your aura, perhaps, and your approach. So, of course, we begin with fire signs. So, let's say you're an Aries, Leo, or Sagittarius rising. You are bold, magnetic, and of course, confident. People notice your presence instantly. Okay. There is this undeniable energy that rising signs that are fire signs exude. When they step up on the scene, you feel it. They may be loud or just their presence is just boom, it's blunt, it's there, right? They come off confidently, self-assured. Some may even say, depending on how, your personality, it may be even cocky or overly confident, but it's definitely unmistakably fiery and direct. Now, let's say you've got an Earth rising sign. So you're either Taurus, Virgo, or Capricorn rising. You're more calm, grounded, and composed. People sense your stability and maturity. Now, the one thing I will say, and I've noticed this a lot, especially in clients. So, when it comes to Capricorn risings specifically, Capricorn risings tend to have that resting bitch face energy. They're like the kings and queens of that. But apart from that, and sort of that stoic energy that earth sign risings can bring, they're also very mature, very grounded, very dependable, almost very adult like. And it's not to say that if you're not an earth rising sign, you're not mature, but we all know how they show up solid, dependable, right? I mean, I know you know what I mean. That's what I mean by that. And then let's say that you have an air sign rising. So that means you're either Gemini, Libra, or Aquarius rising. You guys are friendly, curious, and socially adaptable. People feel at ease around you. You guys are the people, which is how I like to call it. You guys are sociable, friendly, gregarious, chatty, can strike up a conversation with anybody, very friendly and approachable. And then finally, we have water sign rising signs. So that is Cancer, Scorpio, or Pisces rising. You guys are mysterious, sensitive, and emotionally attuned. People are drawn in by your depth. I often find that people that have water sign rising signs, so Cancer, Scorpio, or Pisces rising, there's a mystery about you and your presence immediately makes people feel something, whether it's nurturing, whether it's mystery or sexiness, whether it is healing. You draw people in by your depth, by your emotions, and how you make people feel. All right, so now let's take it a step further to level two, and let's talk about your rising sign by ruling planet, okay? And this denotes how you attract and engage, essentially how you carry yourself. So when I say ruling planet, the planet that rules the sign of your rising sign, or should I say the planet that rules your first house, is your ruling planet. It's actually known as your chart ruler. So if you didn't know, your chart ruler runs the show in your life, okay? But in this context, when we're talking about relationships, it sort of denotes how you show up, how you present yourself, okay? So let's say first you are Mars ruled. So this would mean you are an Aries or a Scorpio rising. You are direct, bold, and physically expressive. I think that's pretty self-explanatory. Next, let's say you are Venus ruled, which means you are either a Taurus or a Libra rising. You are charming, stylish, and aesthetically magnetic. Mercury ruled, meaning that you are a Gemini rising or a Virgo rising. You guys are clever, communicative, and observant. Let's say you are a Cancer rising, which means that you are ruled by the moon. You are nurturing, emotionally resonant, and you have a very, very comforting presence. Let's say you're ruled by the sun, which means that you are none other than a Leo rising. You're warm, vibrant, and confident. You've got that natural spotlight energy. If you are a Sagittarius rising or a Pisces rising, that means that you're ruled by Jupiter. And you guys are playful, open, and optimistic. And then finally, if you are a Capricorn rising or an Aquarius rising, that means that you're ruled by Saturn and you are composed, grounded, and an authority. When you show up as the boss, point blank, period. So now let's take it another level deeper. And we go to level three, which is rising sign by aspect. So if you're rising sign, now I want to make an important distinction here. You'll hear rising sign, you'll hear ascendant. Your rising sign is literally the sign of your first house. Doesn't matter the degree. Okay. So, and I use So I guess I should have mentioned this before. I use Western tropical astrology. And in terms of charts, I use a whole sign house system, which means that each house is just one sign. Other house systems, you may experience two signs in one house. Nothing wrong with that. It's just a different way of interpreting it. But me, I use whole sign houses. So when we're talking about rising signs, the rising sign is the sign of the first house, whereas the ascendant is the specific degree of your rising. It's literally your incarnation. So your rising sign could be Capricorn, but your ascendant, which is abbreviated as AS or ASC in your natal chart, could be 12 degrees of Capricorn. So when I'm talking about aspects to your ascendant, I'm talking about aspects to your ascendant degree. Okay, so I want to make that distinction here very clear. And these aspects to your ascendant degree essentially denotes how others experience you. So remember, I said your rising sign, your ascendant, it's objective because it's how other people perceive you. So here are just it's a very small listing of some of the rising, or should I say the ascendant aspects to other planets in your natal chart. So let's say that you have your ascendant conjunct the sun. This denotes the fact that you're authentic and expressive, and people see what they get. Like you shine regardless. You're very much a here I am kind of person, right? Because the sun shines. And when the sun is on the ascendant, people really see you. You're very visible, you're very noticeable, right? And basically, what you see is what you get. Now, in contrast, let's say that you have your ascendant conjunct the moon. You are sensitive, approachable, and emotionally transparent. You lead with emotion, and that's definitely how people perceive you. They feel you, I should say, before they may even see you. It's like how you make them feel takes precedence sometimes over what you look like or what you're even saying. Next, let's say that you have your ascendant square to Saturn. You're someone who's serious, structured, and cautious. Trust builds slowly with you. So, again, this is giving resting bitch face, number one. And number two, you're not immediately open. You may, or people perceive you as someone who's not immediately open. You could be very stoic, you could be kind of closed off, and you open up over time. So you'll show up on the scene and you'll be there, but people can't necessarily perceive you or feel you or experience you right away. And that can be a great thing. If you are designed in this way, not only do you have resting bitch face, so it probably scares away the people who don't need to be coming at you at all, number one. Number two, it means that when you do foster some sort of interaction with someone. Now, remember, we're talking about rising signs, so this is all about first impression. You give off the aura that it takes time to get to know you and time to trust. This is what fosters long term relationships. And that's important to know. So, even though you have resting bitch face, it doesn't mean that no one's ever going to approach you. It means that those who do likely will be around for a while, generally speaking. And then finally, let's say that you have your rising sign or your ascendant trine to Jupiter. You're someone who's very jovial, very friendly, confident, and naturally likable. Okay. You're someone who shows up on the scene. It's giving court jester, although I don't want to make it seem as though it's foolish or silly. You're just very jovial, friendly. People gravitate toward you because you could be very optimistic. You're telling jokes, you're doing all the things, and people gravitate you for that kind of warmth and optimism. But either way, your rising sign is your introduction to the world, but it's also your invitation to authenticity. When you align your outer expression with your inner truth, attraction becomes effortless. So essentially what this means is even though your rising sign is about your first impression, and even though your rising sign is objective, it's how the world perceives you. When you're able to match that with how you perceive yourself, So when you're able to blend your sun, your moon, and your rising, this is when attraction become effortless because you're showing up as your full self. All of this fosters authenticity. And when we're talking about first impressions, authenticity is literally everything. All right, so now let's pause for a moment of reflection and self inquiry. Okay, so here's your reflection for today's video. How does your rising sign shape the energy you bring into new connections? And does it match who you truly are inside? It's a very important question. So definitely meditate and take some time to journal about that. And also notice where your presentation and your essence might be out of sync. This is exactly what I was talking about before. Your rising sign is objective, it's how people perceive you. And maybe that's not in sync with what you feel as a person. So understand where there's that mismatch. And it's not to say that you need to change who you are. You need to sort of really understand who you are by rising sign and by sun and moon sign. So you get the complete picture of who you are at your core. And then you can kind of understand how to show up, how to present yourself, and really how to have a successful first impression. All right. So take the time to think about that, meditate on all of that, and journal it. So, if you're curious about how your rising sign blends with your Venus sign, your Mars sign, and your moon sign, basically all of the energy you radiate and what you attract, then take the free seduction style quiz. The link is in the description box below. It's short and it's fun, and it'll help you really understand your relationship and seduction style. All right. And come join us in Cosmic Collective, where we talk about attraction, energy, and compatibility live every week during Cosmic Chemistry Fridays. It's where we bring all of this cosmic chemistry to life. It's my private online community where you get access to exclusive content, a community of great people, plus more access to me. I go live there every week on Fridays to dive deeper into the video subject matter, to give you case studies using celebrity charts, and where you can ask as many questions as you like, whether they're general or even specific to your natal chart. So if you're interested, the link is in the description box below. It is $11 per month, but you get a 2-week free trial just to try it out and see if you like it, even though I'm sure that you will. And during that time, you can watch all the videos, you can comment, you can talk, you can learn more. It's a whole vibe. So again, the link is in the description box below if you want to come join us over there. All right, my loves, that's pretty much all I've got for you for this video on your rising sign and what it can tell you about attraction and first impressions. I sincerely hope that you were able to get at least one important piece of information that you can use to help understand yourself better and therefore improve your relationships. All right. So join me tomorrow. Well, I'll be discussing how the seventh house of relationships in your natal chart develops, what it means, what it is, and what it reveals about marriage and commitment. Juicy stuff. All right. Thanks so much for tuning in, and I'll see you in my next video. Take care.